Give us a home. How about that? How about just giving people that need a home inside? Then we'd be inside. You just want to just throw us to the rat.
As a resident of Washington, D.C., I am outraged that Donald Trump has sent the military into our city and seized control of the police. Donald Trump claims the city is overrun by crime and homelessness, but that's not true. Crime is at a 30-year low. Homelessness has dropped 10% since last year. The chair of the city council called it an extreme, outrageous, and dangerous move. He argued, rightly so, that the National Guard is trained for warfare and disasters, not community policing. Trump has done something similar before. Back in 2020, he flooded our city with troops during peaceful Black Lives Matter protests. And just in June, he sent 2,000 National Guard troops to Los Angeles over immigration raids. But this time, it's a complete takeover of the city's police and authority. This isn't about safety, it's a power grab. It's about silencing dissent. Washington, D.C. is supposed to be the nation's protest capital. Trump wants to replace that with troops, checkpoints, and crackdowns. Today it's about crime and homelessness. Tomorrow it could be about protests, strikes, or simply disagreeing with Donald Trump. We, the residents of Washington, D.C., say no to the militarization of our streets. End the takeover. Withdraw the troops. Block federal overreach. Challenge it in court. And push for D.C. statehood so this can never happen again.
Hello wonderful good people, welcome once again to my YouTube channel. I believe all of you are well and doing fine. For those who are new here, I'm Marvin, and please and kindly feel free to hit the subscribe icon below. You can as well share this video to your family and friends for it to reach a high magnitude of people. Don't forget also to like this video. On today's episode, on a recent breaking news in Washington DC, Trump sent in the National Guard to overtake the police department in Washington, D.C., the capital city of the United States of America. This caught everyone by surprise when this move took place. Trump is defending himself, saying he is sending in the National Guard to help bring down the crime rates in America. In this video, we are going to see different reactions of Americans who are living in Washington, D.C. Many of them claim if you want to clear out people in Washington, D.C. because we are poor, give us houses to live in, give us methods, or give us shelter where we can host ourselves. Trump also says he is doing this because he is trying to bring down the crime rates in America and also to wipe out the people who are living in the streets. Residents in Washington DC clearly are saying no crime rates is in Washington DC because the crime rate has come down from the last census that was done in Washington DC. Trump is only trying to be a dictator. That's why he made such a big move. The National Guard, he is trying to take control of Washington DC, and majority of Americans in America are saying this is a move Trump is using to counter the number of black Americans in Washington DC. People feel he is trying to chase out black Americans who are living in poor condition in Washington DC. If it were white people, because majority of Washington DC people are MAGA supporters, Trump really is not taking into hand black Americans in Washington DC. With the videos above we are going to watch, we can clearly get to see how bitter and how it pains for the residents in Washington DC, how they feel about this big move by Donald J. Trump. Let's watch the following videos and come back at the end and discuss its implication to the residents of Washington DC. Make sure you watch to the end. Thank you for watching.
I'm in DC right now. right at the moment, been outside the entirety of the day. Have met with organizers, have been talking to neighbors. And one of the things that I consistently see online is people talking about, oh, DC is as safe as it's ever been. And I have a very different idea of safety. This is the Democratic mayor of DC, Muriel Bowser, who removed the emergency rental assistance program at the end of 2024. So the DC residents that have lost their jobs in 2025, potentially facing homelessness, had no backing or support from the District of Columbia because that program was extracted. That to me is danger. The removing of the housing vouchers for the people who need it most is danger. The removal of programs for our children in the District of Columbia is danger. I attempted to try to enroll my son in summer camp for 2025 back in February, and he was waitlisted 32. Now, thankfully, in being a person of privilege, having a vehicle, having access to other resources, I was able to put him in a different summer camp. But what are the options for other DC children? The Democratic Party of DC, including the Democratic Mayor Bowser, the DC City Council, rolled out the red carpet for Trump to do whatever the fuck he's doing. And until people are willing to hold their local officials accountable for the ways in which they are failing their residents daily, it's just a matter of time before one of your blue cities or states is on the chopping block.
Hi, I'm a resident of Washington, D.C. I grew up in the area, and I feel the need to speak on Trump's takeover of the city and the deployment of the National Guard. So if you're interested, stick around. Make no mistake, this is plain and simply an effort to seize power and tighten his authoritarian grip, as well as distract everyone from the fact that his name is all over the Epstein files. This act is not based in truth, nor is it based in a desire to help out our community. It can't be based in truth because the surge in violent crime that he keeps babbling about is non-existent. Violent crime is down in DC, and this city is as safe as it's been in decades. When my parents lived here in the 90s, they had a rule: don't go east of 14th Street. It's not safe. Now that's where I live, and I feel so lucky to, because my neighborhood is vibrant, it is diverse, and yes, it is safe. But yes, crime and homelessness are problems. We see it. But sustainably reducing crime and homelessness comes through investments into community centers and services, in safe spaces and support systems, particularly for DC's youth. My dad and I would both volunteer as youth baseball coaches in the area. And we saw firsthand the kind of positive effect it had when you show kids and when you show communities that you care about them, that they're worth a damn. Treating our communities like a threat we're sending the National Guard over is only going to exacerbate the problems we face, increasing hostility and violence. Cities like Baltimore have already made the kind of investments that we need, and it has led to violent crime being down 62%. But instead of doing this, Trump cut $1 billion from DC's budget in his one big horrendous bill. So when you look at it logically, the federalization of DC is nothing more than a maneuver to further the agenda of a would-be tyrant. And as someone who lives in DC and who loves this city, I am scared of what is to come. But what gives me hope is the resolve of our community. Throughout 2025, I have seen people in DC come together to stand up for what is right, to organize and protest and speak out against injustice, and we have to continue to do so. Silence is the sinister ally of oppression, and we cannot let it rule the day. So if you're scared of what's happening and unsure of what to do, know that you are not alone. And if there's one thing that all of us can do, it is keep making noise. Our love of our city, our community, and each other is stronger than their will to tear us down and tear us apart.
Yo, one of the reasons Donald Trump is able to do what he's doing in D.C. with the military takeover there is because the majority of white people are okay with it. And I'm not only talking about MAGA Republicans. The majority of white people are okay with it or indifferent to it. Not all. Gotta say that on the internet because people go crazy, but most. And let me tell you why. The over-policing of black people is as American as apple pie, as they say. Because the whole idea of the police is to over-police black people. That's their main function, no matter what else you think. That's why they were created as slave catchers, and that's why they're there now, to protect white people against black people. And as a matter of fact, That's all through law enforcement, right? You can't be elected to a district attorney job or a sheriff job without running on one single platform: tough on crime. And crime means black people. It doesn't matter whether the statistics are true or not. That's what it means, and that's who gets elected. I'm not just talking about southern or all white cities. You go to the most liberal city in America, and your DA and your sheriff ran on tough on crime. Every single one. And white America wants that. They want a barrier between them and black people. And that barrier, the protectors of that barrier, are law enforcement. And so we have a society that's built around honoring and worshiping and praising these men in blue and women in blue, these men and women in blue, right? They praise them. And so you have Donald Trump put that whole group inside of D.C. and recognizing that there are white people in D.C. It's not an all-black city. And there are white people who protest that. Again, there are white people who protest that. But overall, white people are okay with over-policing, whether it's the military, National Guard, or whomever, as long as it's used against black people. And because of the immigration nonsense, used against Latino communities as well. Right? They're okay with that. And so even though you have the overreach of the federal government and the military on the streets of DC, like you had the military on the streets of LA, as long as those military people or personnel are not on the streets of these all white communities, white people are like, that's all right. They're okay with it. Look, you could draw a line from people who remember when Obama was president, and you might remember the Jade Helm military exercises. Jade, one word, Helm. It was in 2015, I believe, and it was a planned military exercise across 5-7 states or something like that, including Texas and Utah, maybe Missouri or something like that. I don't know. And white people went crazy. They went crazy because they said this was Obama was going to initiate martial law, and the government was going to take over these states, take over these red states, and I don't know. You know all these kind of weird fantasies they have about Obama was taking over the world and all this kind of stuff. And it got so much publicity that it ended up all across the news. Governor Greg Hot Wheels, got involved writing letters to the military, and this stuff had been planned, but they didn't care. They just said Obama was taking over red states and he was going to initiate martial law. And they said it was government overreach and all this kind of stuff, right? All those people are watching Donald Trump put the military in DC, and they're like, hey, this is great. Because there's never a fear in the United States against the military and against government unless there's black people in that government. And that's all the way from city council to mayor to governor to president to vice president with Kamala Harris. White people are only scared of government when black people are the target of that fear because they are in government. That's it. And so now you have Donald Trump putting all these people, all these military and all these law enforcement apparatus inside DC. And overall, MAGA people are happy and celebrating it, and leftists are rationalizing and justifying it, and centrists are like apathetic. And that's how he can spread it. He can spread it from one city to the next, to the next, to the next. I don't know if he'll do that, but he could do it because for the most part, as long as he's targeting black people, or like in Los Angeles, mostly targeting brown people, most, not all, but most white people are either okay with it, that's MAGA and celebrating it, rationalize it like leftists, and are indifferent to it like centrists.
If you're still here with me, congratulations. God bless America. God bless the black American community in Washington DC, and God protect all the homeless and struggling people who are living in Washington DC. Well, what's your take in this? Do you support Trump's big move to cut home to send the National Guard to overtake the police department in Washington DC? With the videos we've just watched, we can clearly see and we can clearly get to see a point that Majority of Americans in DC do not agree to such kind of move. Trump is using this move because he is believed to be on top of power, because he wants to take over Washington DC. We don't know what really is in Trump's agenda, but we believe that anything Trump wants, he clearly gets it. The National Guard is supposed to protect the citizens of America, not oppress the people of America. Trump is defending himself, saying the crime rates in USA is at a high and he needs to cut them down. Why make such a move? Why send the National Guard? Well, and there is police department in DC. The black Americans in Washington DC, clearly those who are homeless, they are saying, we are not against what you're doing, but if you want to wipe us out, please give us houses, give us food, and we will humbly leave the streets because we are citizens in America. Trump clearly has done such a move because he wants to wipe out black Americans in Washington DC. Many of the people who live in Washington DC are MAGA supporters. They support Trump full hand. They don't take anything Trump does seriously. Anything bad Trump does, they seem to follow and enjoy it. This is so sad because Trump is using power to cut off his relationship with the general public in Washington DC. Clearly, power is not something to joke around with, and security of the citizens in Washington DC is one that really matters more than the power Trump has in his hands. He gets what he wants. That's why he behaved in such a move. I will keep you posted on what really happened in Washington DC. I will keep you also posted on how the residents in Washington DC are living. Make sure you subscribe to my channel, like this video, comment, let's engage, and I will humbly respond to your comments. Thank you for watching. See you on the next episode, family. And always remember, God is protecting all of us. God protect the black American community in Washington DC from all kind of oppression, and God protect your family. Always be on the watch out, because anything Trump does, he has his eyes in the black American community because he doesn't like the black American community at all. See you on the next episode, family.